you got to realize the government does not give a fuck about them. Government doesn't care about you or your children or your rights or your welfare or your safety. It simply doesn't give a fuck about you. It's interested in its own power. That's the only thing, keeping it and expanding it wherever possible.
Welcome back. I'm the Alpha, your host, Amali Cabral. And we're having a little technical issues here with the signal between my computer and the audio program I'm using, but it looks like we're back up online and I'm getting some sort of response now. So once again, I am the Alpha, your host, Amali Cabral. Welcome back to Being Common Makes No Sense Show, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Dial-in number is 515-604-9537. It's 515-604-9537. To enter, put in 390-994, 390-994. I am the author of Bailout of the Legal Matrix, a simple 10-step guide to freedom. You can find the intro to the book. It's an audio book live on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to order now, you can simply shoot us an email. You can go to our Facebook page or YouTube page and leave a message. You can also call us at 626-344-2182, 626-344-2182. If you use Common Sense Inc. and Cslawinfo, our great sponsors here for the show, please leave a review on our Live Big Publishing Facebook page. And you can find this info on our website at www.cslawinfo.us. It's www.cslawinfo.us. Well, today's show was going to be called Attack of the Trolls. I'm not so sure if I'm going to leave it at that title there. Doesn't really matter, of course. But we are going to talk about trolls, and we are going to expose them. We are going to leave the invitation open to them for this hour to call in and defend themselves. I've already forewarned these 9 cretins, scum, drags, liars, government agents. I mean, the names that you can call these people, it can go on and on and on. I've already forewarned them in a video, in comments throughout the week. I've addressed them personally. And like any good old internet troll, they go into hiding like the cowards they are. So I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised if we get no response today from these cowards. But they'll leave these long comments, these long, drawn-out, legalese comments on our YouTube channel. And you could go there. I mean, just go to any of our videos. I mean, if you really want to see most of their comments, go to our Right to Travel video, and you'll see the paragraphs these people write, even up until about an hour ago, saying that I delete their comments and I duck their questions, and I'm not forthcoming in my explanations. And here I am right now. I repeatedly post the call-in number, the enter number. I give them the date and time our shows are published. And I swear you could be out in the Arizona desert with the tumbleweed and the crickets chirping right now. Because all I hear is silence. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to silence the critics of Common Sense Inc. and Cslawinfo. Once again, I'm the Alpha, your host, Amali Cabral, author of Bailout of the Legal Matrix. Let's get into our first troll. He or she calls himself One Mo Ting, literally spelled WONMOTING. And before I go further, I just want to say I am not the only channel that these people troll. It seems like any channel that's relevant or teaching similar ideas and reasonings like CS Law or Common Sense Inc. does, these people have a habit of swarming together and just trolling all our channels. So it's not just me, folks. Okay, so the first one is One Mo Ting, spells it WONMOTING. And I'm not going to read their comments verbatim, line for line, because that would take hours upon hours. I just picked out the most important parts out of each comment so I can address them now live. One Mo Ting says, I'm unqualified to give legal advice. I'm unqualified to give legal advice. For those of you that have been listening so far to the podcast, I don't remember one time me saying that I am qualified to give legal advice. I don't remember me saying ever I'm a lawyer or attorney. For those of you that have ordered products from Common Sense Inc., right, the disclaimer right on the invoice says, I am not qualified to give legal advice. So I have no idea where these people believe or think that I'm here masquerading as an attorney or lawyer. So that's basically what One Mo Ting said about me. He said that I'm unqualified to give legal advice. And to be honest, I'd have to agree with him. Because I'm not here to give legal advice. I'm here to reawaken the critical thinking part of people's brains again. I'm here to give you common sense. Or basically reopen the common sense that's already within each and every one of you. The last thing I'd want to do is be like these schmoes that are trying to con you or are actually conning a lot of you right now into handing over your hard-earned money, into handing over your property, and unfortunately, handing over your liberties and even your freedom. So that's troll number one. You have been addressed. Troll number two calls himself Serge E.O. Now get this. He spells his name S-E-R-G, and I guess this is his last name. He spells it I-I-O, so it's double I's, then an O. So it's S-E-R-G double I-O, Sergio. Pretty suave, pretty cool, huh? He goes on to say that the right to travel IDs that we offer at Common Sense Inc. are similar to a license. And I asked him repeatedly in comments, which he never answered back like most of these trolls do. I asked him repeatedly, what about the right to travel ID that we offer? What about it other than the picture and a few points of information like their names and their birth date? What else is it similar? I don't know any license that offers any case law backing on the actual card. The right to travel IDs we offer come on an 8x10, 8x11 piece of paper. The right to travel IDs don't have to be renewed. They could take the right to travel ID and print as many copies as they want. They don't have to keep coming back to me. The file is theirs. We send them the actual file, a permanent file for them to keep and reproduce if they like. They don't have to go down and sign any type of contract with me. I mean, if you want to get really technical, the only agreement we're making is through the invoice, the bill of sale. That's it. The right to travel ID is, in a way, I guess you could say it's constitutionally backed. It's backed by the Supreme Court. The right to travel IDs will not be suspended or revoked by Common Sense Inc. So the similarities, if there are any, are few in number compared to the differences. If they were so similar, people wouldn't be asking me for the right to travel IDs. They just continue on with the license. So the logic that these trolls work with is the same logic that's in the matrix out there in the public sector of society. It's virtually irrational and flat out crazy. I mean, seriously, if the right to travel ID is the same as a license, why would I spend so much time looking up the case law, producing videos, putting a chapter of it in a book, if it's the same as a license? That makes absolutely no sense. And I can tell you, no Justice Administration or Administrative Court or any DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, none of them want to even recognize the right to travel ID to a certain extent. So how does this make them similar? So these trolls, as you're beginning to see, do not operate with common sense before they start their accusations or criticisms. A lot of it comes off of emotional rhetoric. A lot of people are not spending most of their day researching. I am. A lot of people are not spending most of their day reading through numerous books and numerous case laws, figuring out which one best fits for the certain individual that might need to use in the future. I am. Even your own beloved lawyers and attorneys are not doing this. That's why they hire paralegals. The paralegals are doing this. I've explained this in another podcast. But I'm doing all this work. Before the break, let's move on. You know what? We'll take a break and we'll come right back and we'll get started with the next troll.
Being common makes no sense, so why do we keep bullshitting ourselves? Join us at Being Common Makes No Sense podcast, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Join Amali Cabral at 515-604-9537. It's 515-604-9537. Enter 390-994 to enter. Visit us at www.cslawinfo.com. Call in now.
And we're back. We're back. The next troll calls himself or herself H. Squires, capital H, Squires. H. Squires says charging people for info is bad. Now, when I first looked at this one, folks, I really started to scratch my head and really ponder what H. Squires was trying to relay, because it almost seems like maybe they meant something entirely different than saying people who charge for info is bad. Okay, so let's start with the national education of the country. So the people who are charging other people an administrative fee, like universities or colleges across the country, these people are bad because they're charging for info. The kids are going to go to a classroom and they're going to gather information from a professor or teacher, but in order to do that, they have to pay an enrollment fee. So who's ever concocting this enrollment fee is bad, according to H. Squires. Okay, I've been to seminars, real estate investment seminars. Some of you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. I haven't been to him, the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy. I haven't been to his seminars. But I've been to real estate investor seminars similar to how his is set up. And if you want more information about how to get started in investing with them or to use their system that has success, you're going to pay. You're going to pay thousands upon thousands. I was at one seminar in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, a few years back, and they had all different types of packages, and for the platinum package, it was $10,000 and up, and people were paying for it. So people will pay for what they value the most. They don't care how much it costs. For instance, let's say a loved one gets put in jail tonight. The bail is $2,000. Plus the 10%, it's $200. The person that's supposed to be bailing them out barely has $150. If they value that person that's in jail, they'll come up with the other $50 somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. If somebody sees a car that they fall in love with and they don't have enough money for it, for the down payment, they will go and borrow the money off somebody if they have to. And this was one of the ploys at the real estate investment seminar I went to. The guy literally was telling people to go borrow the money for family members because the return on the investment, or the ROI, was going to be that much greater, and you could always pay them back afterwards. So people pay for value, what they value the most. So people essentially pay us at Common Sense Inc. because they value the information that we're giving to them. And I remember talking a while ago, because I went through this whole phase of, the abundant mindset and the millionaire next door mindset, and, and I'm not knocking these things. I'm not saying they're bad. I actually believe that, they have their great benefits to them. Guys like Bob Proctor and Jim Rohn, excellent motivator, wealth machine people. So I recommend them. But I remember back then being highly motivated to somehow start up some way to make people value the research that I put in every day to get this information to the public. And I used to just, like most people, I used to just give it away for free. And that's how we're trained here in America. We're trained to give away stuff for free, while the wealthy people are trained to charge for it. So if you ever want to be wealthy or to live a comfortable lifestyle that you really want to live, you got to start charging. And at first it was hard because I was in a habit of not charging. But then I talked to this wealthy entrepreneur guy, and he told me, listen, you got to start charging for the research that you put in. Your time is very valuable. Plus, if you give away your information for free, it's not going to be valued as much. And I thought about it. I went home and I thought about it that night, and I really thought hard, and I realized, yeah, when people think of a Mercedes that costs, let's say, $40,000, they say, wow, that's a valuable car. And then when they look at a Honda Accord, even though an Accord can outlast a Mercedes, but it's priced cheaper, it's more economical, it's not valued as high. You see what I mean? So we are trained in society to value things that cost more or that have some sort of price value to them. So charging people for information is not bad. It's actually very good. Because the person that is purchasing the information actually is showing the one that's giving them the information that not only do they value them, but at the same time they value themselves very highly because they're willing to give up something for that information. Okay? So let's move on to troll number 4. His name is Paul DG, and he actually commented back to me today. But as you can see, he was too afraid to call in because, like I said before, trolls are cowards. They hide behind their computer screens, just typing away like Rambo. But when it comes time to meet the challenge, they do what every coward does, and they run and they hide. So Paul DG says, private attorney generals are not permitted to provide legal advice. Now, the private attorney generals, you can go to our YouTube page. You can see an explanation there. You can also purchase the Bailout Illegal Matrix book. You can find a detailed explanation there. I'm not going to go into it here. But a private attorney general is a person that represents the community or defends the community in a court of law. So, for example, if there's somebody that needs help in the courtroom, and this is according to their law, not my law, not the person that needs representation's law, but the court's law, that you can represent the person as a private attorney general. And if you do win the case, you can be compensated for it by the state. Okay, this is different than next to friend. That's also another way you can represent somebody without having to be a lawyer or attorney. You can represent somebody as a next to friend. And it's the reason this is happening is because the person that needs representation is unable to represent themselves. Okay? And you can look all this up, Cornell Law, you can look it all up. So, again, I'm not here to provide legal advice. I stated that before. We get too caught up in this legal and lawful, and like I stated in the past, we get too caught up in these terms without just seeing the common sense in it all. A person doesn't need to go to a school and obtain a degree in order to know what's common sense and what's not. I don't need to go to Harvard School of Law to realize I can move freely wherever I want. Wherever I want. I have that right. I have 2 legs, don't I? There's a reason why I have the legs. It's so I can be mobile. I don't need a pass from you telling me I can go at this time or that time or at this age, or I can go on my own. Now, if I end up hurting somebody while I'm mobile, or there's some other sort of conflict, then yeah, of course there's going to be consequences. But all the way down to the origin, down to the gist of it, every being on the planet that's able to be mobile has that right to be, else they wouldn't be mobile. It's that simple, folks. It is that simple. So when they come at me with I'm not capable of legal advice, all that is just shut up device. It's a logical fallacy. It's back to the circular reasoning. It's back to, well, so-and-so said this, so if you're not following it, then you must be bad because so-and-so said so. Same type of mentality. And this goes against the very root and principle of what Common Sense Inc. is all about. And that's about getting to the heart of our critical thinking process again. I do not want to sit here, and this is why I invite people to come on. I do not want to sit here and act like I'm some holy man on the top of the hill, or some legal legislator up in Capitol Hill. I'm not. I don't want to be. I want people to come here and challenge me. But if you notice, if anyone takes that challenge to the courts, or any of these brainwashed buffoons out there, these trolls, that I believe a lot of them are just masquerading as trolls, but they're really lawyers, attorneys, government agents. If anybody challenges them, oh, well, it's a humongous problem, and they don't take too kindly to it. So, moving on. Number 5 is foreign source. Spells his name or her name Foren source. Some of you have heard of foreign source. Foreign source has been trolling on YouTube for years. He's like that guy Red Squid or Squint, which I haven't actually been trolled by yet, but I've seen him trolling a lot too. But anyways, so foreign source says you need a license to practice law. This is not true. This is not true. You do not need a license to practice law. You do not need a license to practice law. All you have to do is go to the American Bar Association. I've said this before. A couple years back, I called the ABA up because I had read in their manual. I was looking to see if they were actually licensed, because every time when you go into a lawyer's office, you look on the wall and you look at the certification, there's no signatures but from the state there, unlike a doctor's office where you got the Secretary of State signing. All you see is judges' signatures, people from the bar. You don't see anybody from the government. And the government gives out the licenses. Other than that, it's just a pseudo name. That's all it is. I've questioned professors about their license to show it to me, and I would recant might challenge them, and they would pull out the bar card, which is a union card, because at the bar you pay dues just like at trade unions. That's all it is, folks. So I called the ABA one day. I talked to somebody there, a representative, and I asked them point blank. I should have recorded it, but I asked them point blank. I asked them, you know, is there any evidence that lawyers and attorneys are licensed? She flat out told me no. She says they're certified. She said they're certified.
Being common makes no sense. So why do we keep bullshitting ourselves? Join us at Being Common Makes No Sense podcast, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Join Amali Cabral at 515-604-9537. It's 515-604-9537. Enter 390-994, 390-994 to enter. Visit us at www.cslawinfo.us. Call in now.
Yeah, so she said they're certified. And I said thank you, and I hung up. Because she basically clarified what I already knew. Then I did a little bit more research, and I was researching the admission to the bar in the United States. And it says a regulation of the legal profession is a power reserved to the states pursuant to the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Each state, territory, and the District of Columbia has its own rules. Unlike many other countries, U.S. jurisdictions do not license legal practitioners as solicitors and barristers. These are just fancy names for lawyers and attorneys. But all licensed attorneys are qualified to practice as both. Now, don't be deceived when it says all licensed attorneys are qualified to practice as both. I just explained to you, if you go into your lawyer's office or any lawyer's office when you get a chance and you look at that certificate on the wall, you're going to see judges' signatures. You're not going to see any state representative signature there, just like all other licenses in the state, including doctors. And when you ask the lawyer attorney when you're in their office, are you certified or licensed? Watch them start fumbling over their speech. It goes on to say all jurisdictions require applicants to pass a moral character evaluation and to pass the ethics exam. This is just bullshit because, as I explained before, morals are based on perception. What morals are we talking about? Are we talking about somebody that believes in the Bible, or are we talking about an atheist morals? So this is how they make their judgment, people, which some states administer as part of their bar examinations. Most require applicants to achieve a particular score on a multi-state professional responsibility exam. All jurisdictions except Wisconsin and New Hampshire require successful completion of a bar exam for admission. Diploma privilege is available in those states for graduates of certain law schools whose degree programs meet certain requirements. Educational requirements vary, but most states require a baccalaureate degree with any major concentration or in general studies, followed by a professional doctorate in law, specifically a Juris Doctor or Doctor of Jurisprudence degree from a law school accredited by the American Bar Association. So it goes right back to this exclusive club, which, mind you, is not part of any governmental system. It's actually a private entity. Okay, so the bar is not part of the United States government. It's part of its own entity. Some states accept foreign law degrees, and a very small number of states accept U.S. law degrees from uncredited law schools. At least one state, California, requires no general degree and no law degree. It is technically possible to become an attorney in California by completing 2 years of college coursework or the equivalent as demonstrated by examination, and to meet the legal education requirement by studying law diligently in a lawyer's office or judge's chambers for not less than 864 hours over not less than 4 years. Hours spent as an employee of an attorney or judge do not count as study. Few other states also allow their legal education requirement to be met by study under supervision of an attorney or judge, excluding employment. So we see here that they take a moral character evaluation to pass an ethics exam. Okay, they say that they have to obtain their degrees through a law school accredited by the Bar Association. So if you can't get into this Bar Association, guess what? Very few people become lawyers and attorneys. So if you're wondering, when you're out there trying to follow the pursuance of Common Sense Inc., and you're wondering why, when you're talking to these people, they're not taking you seriously, it's because they're all part of the same club, the criminal club called the ABA, where they make their own rules. And I go deep into that in our information packages, which you can get a hold of, and my book, where I explain how it started, how it kept women and minorities out of it for a long time. It was no different than an old boys club. So these are things to think about, people. So when Foreign Source says you need a license to practice law, you ask Foreign Source, produce that license for me. When I see the license, when I see the signature by the state, that's the actual license, then I'll believe you. Moving on, we have, let me see, number 6, White Saber. White Saber says, no case has won with the right to travel defense, no cited case law. Seriously, I shouldn't even have to go over this, but we have United States v. Guest, 383 U.S. 745, 1966. There's a constitutional right to travel from state to state, and the protections of the Fourth Amendment extend to citizens who suffer rights deprivations at the hands of private conspiracies where there is minimal state participation in the conspiracy. Oh, boy. I don't even see why I had to do this. I mean, really. U.S. Supreme Court and other high court citations proving that no license is necessary for normal use of the automobile in common ways. The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile is not a mere privilege which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right which he has under his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Under this constitutional guarantee, one may therefore, under normal conditions, travel at his inclination along the public highways or in public places, and while conducting himself in an orderly and decent manner, neither interfering with nor disturbing another's rights, he will be protected, not only in his person, but in his safe conduct. Did you hear that? It says he will be protected, not only in his person, but in his safe conduct. We have Thompson v. Smith, 154, SE 57911, American Jurisprudence, Constitutional Law, Section 329, page 1135. The right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon in the ordinary course of life and business is a common right, which he has under the right to enjoy life and liberty, to acquire and possess property, and to pursue happiness and safety. It includes the right, in so doing, to use the ordinary and usual conveyances of the day, and under existing modes of travel includes the right to drive a horse-drawn carriage or wagon thereon, or to operate an automobile thereon for the usual and ordinary purpose of life and businesses. Let's go to Kanisha Mills versus D.C. 2009. The use of the automobile as a necessary adjunct to the earning of a livelihood in modern life requires us, in the interest of realism, to conclude that the right to use an automobile on the public highways partakes of the nature of a liberty within the meaning of the constitutional guarantees. We have, there's just a whole, this is from the website We Are Changed by Jeffrey Phillips. It was published July 21st, 2015. So you could just Google this, and all these cases will come up. Campbell versus Walker, 78 Atlanta, 601-603, 2 Boys, Delaware 41. The owner of an automobile has the same right as the owner of other vehicles to use the highway. A traveler on foot has the same right to use of the public highways as an automobile or any other vehicle. Simone versus Lindsay, 65 Atlanta, 778-779. Harrington versus Wright, 63 Atlanta, 234-236. The right of the citizen to drive on the public street with freedom from police interference unless he is engaged in suspicious conduct associated in some manner with criminality is a fundamental constitutional right which must be protected by the courts. People versus Horton, 14 California, Appellate 3rd, 667, 1971. The right to make use of an automobile as a vehicle of travel along the highways of the state is no longer an open question. The owners thereof have the same rights in the roads and streets as the drivers of horses or those riding on a bicycle or traveling some other vehicle, on and on and on. There's just a list. Indiana Springs Company versus Brown, 165, Indiana 465, 468. U.S. Supreme Court says no license necessary to drive an automobile on public highways, streets, no light. It just goes on. It goes on and on. It gets so boring because you got to keep reiterating this stuff for the brainless trolls who keep challenging it. I just cited like over 4 case laws, at least 5. And there's numerous ones. It just goes on and on and on. There's got to be like 20 of them here. Yep. So, yeah, you can travel. These are cases that have won. And you can find it at We Are Change, posted by Jeffrey Phillips, July 21st, 2015. Just Google that. Next on the list, number 7 is I Hate Scam Artists. I Hate Scam Artists. That's the troll's name. I Hate Scam Artists says a license is not a contract and operating a vehicle is a privilege. A license is not a contract and operating a vehicle is a privilege. Well, let's see what a contract actually means. If you Google the online etymology dictionary, which means it's going to take you to the origin of a word that you type in, where the word was first used and applied, we type in contract. What we see is this. Contract is a verb. Late 14th century, make narrow, draw together. Early 15th century, make an agreement. Remember that. Remember, make an agreement. Remember that. From Middle French, contracteur. From Latin, contractus. Past principle of contractere. To draw together, combine. Make an agreement. Remember that. Make an agreement. See contract noun, related, contracted, contracting. We go to contract noun, early 14th century, from Old French contract, modern French contract, from Latin contractus. A contract, agreement, remember agreement. So we have make an agreement, now we have agreement. From past participle, of contractare, to draw together, metaphorically, to make a bargain. To make a bargain. From come together, see come, cherry, to draw, see track, U.S. Underworld, sense of arrangement to kill someone, first record, 1940. Then if we go down, we see contractor as a noun in the 1540s, one who enters into a contract, from the late Latin contractor, agent, noun, for past participle stem of Latin contractare. See contract, noun, specifically of one who enters into a contract to provide work, services, or goods. Remember, services or goods. One who enters into a contract to provide work, services, or goods, from 1724. Okay, so now we put in driver's license contract into Google. That's what I'm waiting for. And what pops up is driver's license agreement. Now, when we look at contract, we see make an agreement. We see agreement. We see that word agreement. Now, when I put in driver's license contract into Google, what pops up? Driver's license agreement, or the DLA. It's an interstate compact written by the Joint Executive Board of the Driver's License Compact, DLC, and a non-resident violator compact, NRVC, with staff support provided by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, AAMVA. The DLA requires all states to honor licenses issued by other member states, report traffic convictions to the licensing state, prohibit a member state from confiscating an out-of-state driver's license or jailing an out-of-state driver for a minor violation, and maintain a complete driver's history, including withdrawals or traffic convictions, including those committed in non-DL states, blah, 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 blah. Then we go down, right, and we see an example would be a driver from Arizona getting cited for tinted windows while driving through Virginia, even though the tinted windows are legal back at home. The driver is ordered to fix the tint to meet Virginia law, even though the driver left Virginia. Under the NRVC, to retain said license, the driver just pays the fine, but with the DLA, the driver license agreement, the driver must do what the court says, including paying a fine, but also fixing vehicle equipment and or community service. Did you hear that, folks? I mean, honestly, I can't say this any clearer or make this stuff up. So when I Hate Scam Artists says that a license is not a contract, and operating a vehicle is a privilege, and you ask any lawyer or any court official that works for them, because this sounds like one, you let them know about the etymology of the word contract, which means making an agreement or an agreement. That's what a contract is, an agreement. And then you take them over to their driver's license agreement, which basically says you've made an agreement with the state. Because if you didn't make one, how does the state have any type of authority? Because you're allowing them to, of course, but that's for another time. We'll get into that. But let's say we're just playing by just strictly their matrix rules. How do they have the authority to make you pay a fine, also fix the vehicle equipment, and do community service? If you haven't entered into a contract with them or an agreement that you're agreeing to do what they say. I mean, do I have to now go into the definition of what agreement means? So, yes, a license is a contract, because a contract is making an agreement between two people. And when you go down to that extortionist office and you hand them over your hard-earned money, you are essentially saying, listen, I'm giving you something so that you can give me my quote-unquote privilege to drive, right, or operate a motor vehicle, even though I have the right to travel, but nobody told me that. And I don't have enough common sense to know that. And now, if anything happens, not only within my own land or state with these people made up that I live in, now it's connected throughout the whole country. So like it said, even though in Arizona I can have tinted windows, I can't have them in Virginia, and therefore I can be fined in Virginia. Now, the only way that's happening is if I made an agreement in the beginning with these people that they are allowed to do anything they want to me because I'm of the understanding that I don't have any rights to travel. I just have a privilege. You see what I'm saying? So, i.e. scam artist, it seems to me you're the scam artist. You're the real scam artist because from the case law that I read, you shouldn't be charging people a thing to do what they want to do. I don't remember the last time tinted windows hurt anybody. And if somebody has any information out there that says that tinted windows hurt people, and when I mean hurt them, I mean, do the tinted windows blind people? Do they burn people on contact? I mean, immediate hurt. If that was true, why do a lot of detective cars, I would say all of them damn near, have tints on the windows? Why are you able to have tint in some states and not others? So this is really all nonsensical stuff, people. All nonsensical stuff. Wow, I didn't see. We're just going to keep trucking forward. We were going to break, but we're not going to break. We're going to get right through this. Number 8 is RSVPini. RSVPini. Real pain in the ass. This is one of the biggest trolls on our channel. Leaves long, drawn-out comments, nonsense comments, and never, like any good troll, responds back to you and stays on topic. RSVPini says that I misinterpreted the motor vehicle code. Let's see if I misinterpreted the motor vehicle code. If you remember from our last podcast, I said the motor vehicle, in our right to travel package, I quoted the motor vehicle code. It's 18 U.S. Code 31. Now, I'm reading directly from the information package right now. So if any of you have the right to travel information package, you should open it up while you're listening to this. If you don't have it, I recommend that you get it. So I'm reading directly from the right to travel package. It says 18 U.S. Code 31, 6. Motor vehicle. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways and the transportation of passengers and property, or cargo. So a motor vehicle is used for commercial purposes on the highway. You know, trucks, taxis, it could be all this stuff. Things that are making money. Okay? I mean, that's what the code says. Now, when I go to Cornell Law School, when you Google Cornell Law School, you want to put in 18 U.S. Code 31, public laws for the current Congress. Scroll down to number 6, and you see motor vehicle. And again, the term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways and the transportation of passengers and property or car. So, how do you misinterpret that? Or should I say, how did I misinterpret it? I read it verbatim from our information package to the actual source of where we got the definition from. And like I said before, when it comes to this information, everything is sourced, and we put the sources out there that we're reading from. This way you can go back and you can source it yourself, and if you find somewhere, some way that I made a mistake, you can call me on it. And if I'm wrong, I will gladly, I want to say rectify it. I will gladly listen to you. I will go back and double check. And then if I'm still wrong, then I will change. And I'll even apologize for being wrong. Because a lot of people have got the information, so that means now I got to go back to those people and apologize to them too. So when I was writing the initial packages up, I mean, I was double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking, on and on and on, because I didn't want to do the work of that tragic work of having to go back and apologize. I just refused to do it. So I see no misinterpretation there. And again, you can't get the guy to call in. You can't get him to comment back to you. So it's a troll. And last but not least, number 9, we have Natwan Domela. I don't even know if this is a real person. If the name is Ntwadumela. Natwa Domela. And this definitely sounds like a pig to me. He says, and for those of you that have been living under a rock since the 60s, a pig is a cop. It says you need a license to travel because he's written 27 tickets and never lost. Natwa Domela is the epitome of what I've been saying about logical fallacies. He just used a large logical fallacy. He says you need a license to travel because he's written 27 tickets and never lost. So because he's written tickets and he's gone to court and the criminals in the court have backed him up on their extortion scam that they're running on every one of you out there, that somehow that's evidence that we need a license to travel. I just read the Supreme Law of the Land, supposedly, the Supreme Court's decisions of right to travel. There's over 20 court cases I could have read from to you. I just read it to you. But he's saying all he needs for proof, or all you guys need for proof out there, is that as long as there's people writing tickets and not losing in court because the tickets they write, that it's okay to take money from people just for the sake of it. Because last time I looked, writing tickets to people is not making the roads any safer, is it? Or did I miss something? So Mr. or Mrs. Natwan Domela, thank you for being our logical fallacy of the day or of the podcast, because you've proven my point greatly. No, not because you've written so many tickets and never lost. That doesn't mean we need a license. Where is the Supreme Court cases that say we need a license? Where are they? I provided the right to travel Supreme Court cases. Where are the driver license Supreme Court cases that we need a driver's license to travel or to move about? Where are those? So these are the main trolls of our page. And I just want to say to everyone out there, a troll is a troll. It's like the old Gremlins movie. Those of you that were living throughout the 80s, don't feed them past midnight. Don't get on the internet feeding their comments. I usually leave them one comment. If they don't get back to me, or if they just come back with some nonsense, I just ignore them. Because they're usually these people in the court system, they're lawyers, they're attorneys, they're government agents. That's all they're doing. And they're just trying to get people to not listen. Those of us that are waking up finally. So again, I just proved to you that these trolls, the people that are writing comments on our page, to disregard them, they're baseless. I've answered them, I've confronted them, and these people are nowhere in sight. So in my book, that's a coward. And with that, thanks for listening.
Being common makes no sense. So why do we keep bullshitting ourselves? Join us at Being Common Makes No Sense podcast, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join Amali Cabral at 515-604-9537. It's 515-604-9537. Enter 390-994. 390-994 to enter. Visit us at www.cslawinfo.us. Call in now.